about? Everything's about money. You know, why can't we go there? It's because of the money. One of the boys asked me the other day, why can't we fly on an airplane? The money. It is. Our life drives around money. We all know that. We feel extra pressure right now. I don't know about you, but our church finances, we finished the month of September with $265 to our name. There is no extra bundle somewhere else or a secret stash. These are hard financial times. And I believe that our story today reflects the right way to handle money and to handle wherever you work. And I see a lot of young people here this morning. Some of you may be at your first job. Maybe you're about to go into having your first job. If you will take the principle you learned here from the Lord in Matthew 20, it will do you well the rest of your life. I'll guarantee you. I wish I knew this when I first started working. Well, everybody's hired, everybody's working. So verse 8, when evening was come, the Lord of the vineyard said unto the steward, call the laborers, and give them their hire, beginning from the last unto the first. And when they came that were hired about the 11th hour, they received every man a penny. In other words, everyone received a full day's wage, even though they literally only worked for 60 minutes. They came right at the end of the day and they got the full day's wage. Well, they were happy. They were like, wow, that is awesome. I got a full day's wage for working 1 hour. Guess how much that is in English time? That's $60 an hour. And I don't know if any, there's several of you that make $60 an hour, I'm sure. But that's supposed to be funny and nobody's laughing. What, is everybody making $60 an hour here? That's no big deal, right? All right. That is a tremendous pay scale. Even in 2011, to get a full day's pay for 1 hour of work is still a fabulous thing. Well, that wasn't a problem for them. They were happy. The problem was with the other men who were hired earlier that day. Verse 10, but when the first came, they supposed that they should have received more, and they likewise received every man a penny. Now, this is where those of you that work on a daily basis, if you go to some place to work, you maybe have a home business, you work for another, it could be a large corporation, you might work for yourself. Understanding this principle will help you for the rest of your life. Now, remember, he said, I want you to pay them beginning at the last to the first. And so they lined up at a table or some type of a place to receive their coin. And so they've lined up, let's say this is where they're getting paid. The 11 o'clock guys, the last ones that worked for 1 hour, they're at the front and they're getting their money. The guys in the back, they're the ones that started early in the morning, 6 a.m. when it was still dark out, sunlight came up. How long did it take for the news that the guys in the front were getting $60 an hour to get to the back of the line? And I would contend, not long. Now, here's the problem. The guys at the back of the line, as the news spread, hey, those guys got 60. Those guys got a full day's wage. They got a penny. And then the guys that got hired at 9 o'clock or 9 hours in, they heard it, and so on and so forth. The men at the back, they supposed that they should have received more. They supposed, they were back there, they heard the news, and I believe they did this. They said, we've been here 12 hours, $60 an hour, $7.20. We're going to get more because the rate is a full day's wage for 1 hour, so we're going to get $7.20. And I believe they had that money spent before they ever got to the front of the line. They thought about paying off loan. What would you do with $720 unexpected dollars? What would you do if you were given way beyond, if your employer gave you 10 times your wage? You would oh, I could buy this, we could go to the lake, we could do this, I could buy a new thing for my wife, whatever the dream you have that you can't do because of limitations with money, they supposed that they were going to get that much. They had their hopes set high. And Proverbs says, hope deferred makes the heart sick. Because what does it say at the end of verse 10? And they likewise received every man a penny. See, everybody got a penny, whether that was the 1-hour workers, the 3-hour workers, or in the back, the 12-hour workers. Everyone got a day's wage. In modern terms, everybody got around $60. Well, $60 is not $720. And $60 doesn't let you get to go to the lake house or buy the new thing. And they supposed they had their hopes way up here, and guess where they were brought down to? Way down. But see, their error was supposing. Their error was dreaming that, using human wisdom, that they were going to get more. And also the human idea that they deserved more because, why? Verse 11, they, when they had received it, they murmured against the good men of the house, saying, these last have wrought but 1 hour, and thou hast made them equal unto us, which have borne the burden and the heat of the day. Their hopes were up here, they were brought down here, but that's where they were told they would be. A day's wage for a day's work. And that's another principle. If you are entering the workforce, or let's say you've been at your company for 20 years, you need to provide a day's work for your labor. And not coming in 10 minutes late, leaving 15 minutes early, looking on the internet for an hour while you're at work. You weren't hired to look at the internet for an hour while you're at work. You were not hired to come in late and leave early. You were hired to come at this time, leave at this time, and between the times, guess whose you are? You work for someone else. It's not your choice. You don't get to do what you want to do at work. And a lot of young people don't do well going into the job market because all their life they've gotten to do what they want to do. And there's an organization called the United States Marine Corps that can help you understand that you don't do what you want to do when you're there. And I know the Marines are an extreme example, but you surrender some of your rights, in a sense, to serve others and receive income. Now, I hope I have some employers amening this morning. I hope I have some people saying, preach it, brother. I need some hard workers. I once had a manager of a large business in Clinton ask me one time, he said, is it too much to ask for someone who can go 5 days without coming late, without calling in with a phony reason they can't be there, or without me having to go, pick them up at their house or bail their family out of trouble? Is it too much to ask just to have 5 days of somebody that comes to work, does their job, and leave? And I told him, I said, no. And he said, I'd do anything to have employees like that. I can't seem to find them. These workers had their hopes artificially and falsely raised, not by the landowners doing, but by their own imaginations. In a sense, they invented that they should receive the higher wage. It was never promised them. It was never told them, but rumor spread, and they made a wrong conclusion. Well, what was their response when they got the penny? They looked at it and said, I don't believe it. Now remember, they're sunburned, they're hot and sweaty. They've been working hard, 12 hours picking grapes. I've never done it, but I imagine back-breaking, stooped over, difficult, maybe a vine with thorns. I don't know what they were having to deal with. Hard labor. And they said, these who have worked just 1 hour, verse 12, are equal to us. And they've made a second mistake. They've made the last hired people, they've said, you've made them equal to us. Well, what is that saying? I'm better. We're better than them. We deserve more. We're really invested into this. Now, how long have they worked for this man? What's their tenure at the job? 1 day. How much say-so should you get if you've worked for a guy for one day? Not much. I'll guarantee